Now, the lost Ark of the Covenant. According to the Old Testament, when God gave Moses the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai, he also added complex and detailed instructions on how to build a huge chest to contain the tablets of stone, 2 tablets, that the commandments were written on. That was known as the Ark. And today some biblical scholars speculate that the Ark of the Covenant in fact possessed extraordinary mysterious powers. The Bible tells us that the Israelites used it as a secret weapon to win battles. Hence Hollywood's fantastical adventure movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, that's all terrific knockabout stuff, but what happened to the real Ark of the Covenant? Well, for centuries there have been whispers that it was seized during the Crusades in the Holy Land by the secretive and powerful Knights Templar and smuggled back here to Britain. Now, new research suggests it may at this very moment be lying buried next to a holy well, an ancient holy well, in Warwickshire. And with us now, author and historical detective, as he calls himself, Graham Phillips, who's written this book, Templars and the Ark of the Covenant. This is a very complicated but absolutely fascinating bit of detective work on your part. Just to say that it was allegedly brought back to Britain by the Knights Templar, and then of course they were sort of dissolved. The king seized their historical home, didn't he?
That's right. According to basically what happened was that in 1189, the Knights Templar, these Crusader Knights, claimed to have found what was the Ark of the Covenant at Mount Sinai in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And they brought this object back and they kept it at a chapel in Warwickshire.
Now hold it there, let's have a look at this chapel and you tell us where it is. This is the actual chapel, and it's now a barn, isn't it?
It was a barn for many years. Now it's been renovated and it's a house, which, quite a nice little house for rent apparently, which stands beside a road.
But that was originally built by the Knights Templar way back in the 12th century.
To contain the Ark of the Covenant, and it's right at the bottom of these lovely hillsides called the Burton Dashed Hills in Warwickshire.
All right, now as Judy said, then later on the order was dissolved. They remained intact as a religious group, but they lost their military
power.
Their powers. You're right. But things got a bit better for them, and later they were allowed to build this church nearby, very close to that one. Let's have a look at it. Just tell us what century this was built.
That church is built in around about 1350, and it was basically there that the Knights Templars were supposed to have set clues in these paintings here.
What are those paintings?
They're paintings of, that is supposed to be the Archangel, if I'm right, Michael, and that's the Archangel Gabriel, which are associated with the Ark of the Covenant.
They're the guardian angels.
They're the guardian angels that are depicted on top of it, as you saw in that clip.
Okay.
Now those paintings were actually hidden for centuries, and it was, now we'll come up to modern times, it was about 100 years ago that a local historian, what was his name, Jacob Cove Jones, following his own clues, which remain shrouded in mystery, discovered those paintings.
Yeah, he believed that those particular paintings that were just shown, that they were the Knights Templars' clues as to where they'd hidden the Ark when they had to, when their order was dissolved, as you were talking about before.
Right.
And he apparently discovered where the Ark was kept, but he wouldn't tell anybody. He got involved in an argument with local historians. They didn't take him seriously. So just before he died in 1907, he decided he wasn't going to tell anybody, but leave his own clues as to where they were.
So he donated...
Quite a bit of a fad at the time that historians and collectors would leave these elaborate puzzles behind so people could follow them.
Yeah, it was seen to have been some kind of like personal epitaph to them.
Yeah.
If they were historical detectives or local antiquarians, that they'd find some holy artifact that they thought was, and then they'd leave clues as to where it was. In this case, he had the most holy artifact of all, if it really existed.
A stained glass window. He donated a stained glass window to the Church of Langley Church.
Little church in the village of Langley.
Tell us about the clues that they're clearly clues that he put into the stained glass window.
Yeah, this little church at Langley has a window called the Epiphany window. It shows the three wise men visiting Jesus on Epiphany night, the 12th night of Christmas, after following the star. And it seems that if Jacob Coe-Jones left clues in this window, the clues must be, if you're looking for the Ark, follow a star, as the wise men did to find Jesus. In fact, there are two stars associated with the Ark of the Covenant that represent the angels Michael and Gabriel, who are the guardians of the Ark, depicted on top of it. And these are the two tail stars of what we now call the plough.
Yep, the two bottom ones.
The two bottom ones, and they're called Benatesh and Mizar. And these two stars, in fact, if you see that star picture there next to the cockerel, they seem to be two stars, one star upon another. And if those stars are going to guide us to where the Ark is hidden, right next to that star you can see a phoenix, a firebird, the phoenix, in the window. Right above the Templars chapel at the Burton Dasset Hills is a tower known as Phoenix Tower.
Let's have a look at that.
And
this is, we're back to the church.
Yeah,
and
right above that little tower there, well, it's quite a big tower when you go up to it, is called Phoenix Tower, and it seems to be from there, somewhere towards the horizon, that those stars will guide you to where the Ark is.
There's a date clue hidden in the window, which says that you have to be on that hill at that point.
And look there at 12 o'clock on Epiphany Day, which is the 6th of January.
That's all hidden within
it's all hidden within the window.
Now, if we can go back to that picture of the plough, because that's the constellation of the plough.
And that's where it is on the day.
That's what you see on the midnight on the 6th of January from the Phoenix Beacon.
Yeah.
And that's the horizon. Now, if you look at those two bottom stars, which are the two stars in question, and you can get a line of sight down that exact point there at the bottom of that hill. There's a little area called Chapel Green.
Chapel Green, right.
Which is where a medieval chapel once stood, and this seems to be where Jacob Coe-Jones was alluding to, that the Ark was hidden on this hallowed ground.
So we think that
so
he has hit... So let's take stock. He's died furious that nobody will take his claims seriously.
Right.
Because he wasn't taken seriously from the start, he hasn't confided and presented the Ark. He's left these tantalising clues, which you've worked out. We go to that spot, that very spot, that exact spot that the window has led you to, and we find a holy well.
Well, there's no chapel anymore, is there?
No, there's no chapel. What's there now, beside the road, is a little old well. It's now a Victorian drinking fountain, but that's all that remains of the original church.
And of course, wells used to be holy.
They used to be holy, and this was rebuilt in the Victorian times, but it seems that this stands on the spot where the Ark of the Covenant would have been, according to Jacob Coe-Jones's theory. And the interesting thing that makes me think that that is exactly the right spot he was alluding to is in the window, directly underneath the picture of the star, there's a little archway, a red brick archway, that looks very similar to that thing beside the road.
Okay, so the big question is, if you think you know where it is, why don't we just go and dig it up and find it?
Well, the first thing is nobody actually knows who owns that particular piece of land. It's halfway exactly between the farmer's land on the one side and the road on the other side, which is obviously owned by the Warwickshire Road.
We verified this. It doesn't appear on the land registry.
No, nobody knows who owns it. So that's the first thing. Unless you know who owns something, you can't start digging it up. You also probably need a far more than just clues in a stained glass window to get English heritage involved in people doing a dig there. But what we have got is something that suggests that we hope may get English heritage involved, and that is that something was found there that could have been an artefact associated with the Bible. When the road was widened in the 1940s, rubble was removed away, and within that rubble there was discovered this stone tablet. It's about 1 foot wide and about 1.5 feet long.
It's the same kind of stone that Mount Sinai is
exactly
made
the same.
of.
It's not found very often in the world. It's not found in that area at all, so it couldn't have come from there naturally. It's made of exactly the same sandstone
so
that
that
comes
could
from
be
Mount
part
Sinai.
of the Ten Commandments.
It could possibly. No one's been able to decipher what those symbols on it mean yet. It's being looked at the moment in Utah at the University of Brigham Young University in Salt Lake City, and they are hoping to identify what those symbols are.
Well, thank you very much indeed. It's there's more actually, but we just simply don't have the time to tell you. The most it's a wonderful Victorian puzzle that guy left.
If you were to find who owned the land and they were to give permission, you would dig, wouldn't you?
I would happily dig tomorrow, but
we'll do it with you. All right?
Okay, cool.
We'll do it with you. We'll all kind of put our shoulders to the wheel. We'll try and find out who owns the damn spot and get the permission.
And I'll tell you what,
there.
it would make the most fantastic television play. The whole thing, it's just wonderful.
You're on.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And the book, as Judy said,
Graham.
is a fascinating read, and it hangs together. The Templars and the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, thank you for coming in, and we'll come back to this in a few weeks or months.